Hey, welcome. Graham the Gray here. And before we go into this costume cosplay tutorial and a little bit into some of my favorite things, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite stories. From my very first year at Burning Man, 2005, Psyche. And not only do I get to tell you this story, I really got to experience it, and we have some picture evidence of what we're talking about. So this would be Friday evening, and I'm just going to read through some of the what, where, when, to kind of set up the night. So the first thing I did was, let's see. Oh, that's right. I headed out to the Fight Club Part 2 from 7 p.m. to 10. Fights will be moderated, but only the fighters will determine the level of contact and duration. We fight in order to express our mutual respect for each other's arts and to find enlightenment therein. Hosted by Camp Uber Carnery. God, some of them are really hard to pronounce. But I didn't make it to that because, as you'll see, I made it to something else. Then there was the Open Martial Arts Workshop. Similar thing, pretty awesome. That one was hosted by Temple Whore. And then I got into the demise of the machine. Now, let me just read this to you. After dusk, a procession will travel from center camp to the machine to meet acro balancers, fire performers, that was one of them, and aerialists, applying all of your collective strength to ropes. You'll see why I'm laughing later in a moment. That are thrown to us. The inhabitants of Black Rock City will collapse this colossal structure in upon itself. So when I read that, I thought, there's no freaking way. Because let me show you, okay? The machine that he's talking about, see if you can see this, is this giant structure with a huge, amazingly built base. Now, it was really great. It spun around, did all kinds of cool things. But you can't just put ropes on that and pull it. I'm not an engineer, but I knew that wasn't going to work, so I had to see it. So I show up, and like they said, a whole bunch of other burners show up, and they toss these huge ropes in the crowd, and we're supposed to haul this like we're pulling some boat up on the shore. And I look around and go, there ain't no way this happened, but I got to be part of it. I got to be part of it. So about 45 minutes pass, and the machine's not falling. Then they have to bring in other machines, even though the whole point was that we were using human power to destroy the machine. They had to bring in a backhoe to take down the machine. And then immediately there's Terminator jokes, the machines will take over. And yeah, I gotta say, it was just such perfect Burning Man-esque, because the intent was amazing, the art was amazing, the experience was amazing, but it never goes as planned. And that's kind of one of the things that I do in my cosplays. I try to make sure that I've planned for as many different scenarios as possible. So let me show you some of the basic things. We'll go from super basic to very complex, some of my favorite coats. And the most important thing that I learned from a lot of desert festivals was things need to be interchangeable and comfortable. So for example, you'll notice in a moment that I'm actually wearing a fair amount under this. It's not making too much noise. I can dance in it. Always pre-partying your clothes before you wear them. Before you go out partying them. Now, the first thing is you've got to have some kind of big overcoat or trench coat. That's just, you have to. For wind, for sun, for everything. If you just wear that and some underwear underneath, you're usually pretty good. This one I kind of decorated it by getting kind of grungy. It's pretty easy. All you just do is use black coffee, tea, ink, all kinds of things. Run it over the car a few times. Important to have some nice pockets, a good hat. And again, detachable. So I've just attached a little clip so that the hat can go anywhere, because you need a hat. And one of the other things is that this guy also is detachable. Just like this. Boom. Now I can put that on anything else that I like. All right, so we get rid of the first guy. Boom, boom, boom. And one of the main things, if you notice, is that everything that you wear underneath has to be able to be taken on and off with other stuff. If it gets caught up on it, it's not going to be fun. Not going to have a good time. So really, really simple stuff. One of my favorite things is just taking old socks, attaching things to them. So I just attached this little piece of, I think it was the front of a knee guard to that. And then you just got a nice pull on, pull off thing. That's really easy. Boom. Same thing with this. You could just kind of layer them. This is another one. Super easy. I like to do a little mix match of my style's been described as whimsically militant, and I like that. So again, it's nice to have little finger warmers, anything that can go into different things. Everything, as you notice, should be multiple things. Now, one of my absolute necessities is the belts that have everything. So one of my favorites is this guy. I didn't do too much to modify it. It's got a lot of good zipper pockets, because the number one thing I hear at festivals is, where did I just put my... Seriously, I could bang down to a bumper sticker. Then this guy is the main belt. Now the reason that this one's so awesome, and I'll show you here in a moment, is like all the belts, they can be worn over the shoulder, if you'd like. So, you know, if I wanted to do a little bam bam action. So you could wear, you know, multiple ones, switch them up. Again, it just gives you more style, more options. Perhaps you're getting a little tired. And right now, as we'll show you what I got on here. Always have good clear goggles. They're UV protective. These are a must. And when there's a lot of dust and stuff, you don't need too much to block it. One of my favorites is taking a shirt sleeve, cutting it like so, and then just should probably put it on the right way. Then we have a really easy, nice face mask. It's not going to be super hot, and you know, it just rolls up easy under the neck. Bam, and again, everything on this comes off the belt too. That way I can attach it to other things. Boom, yeah, moving down the line. Let's get to the other really fun stuff in this guy. So because it was Burning Man, of course, and being a fire performer and spinner, if you haven't had the experience to go to a festival like that, it's a lot of fun. It's changed over the years, but that's what happens. And just like at any festival, make sure to drink water. If you haven't peed in like 2 to 3 hours, you are probably dehydrated. So this is one of my favorite go-to little fire tools. The reason I really like this guy is it's a thick chain. Normally, most of the fire things, stepping on that, are really thin, and that gives you a whole lot more weight. It's also basically more of a true weapon. It's an interesting size, very interesting length. It's not normal, so that's one of the things I like about it. And it's durable. And a nice, good square Kevlar like that gets a lot, I mean a lot of flame. So of course, gotta have that. And then moving on, BPA-free water bottle. Super important because it's gonna get hot. It's going to melt. Plastic's going to melt into your water. You don't want that. And then to make this a little bit cooler, I just, again, put that sock thing on top of it that I could take off if I want, put on a hand. Waterproof flashlight. These are fantastic because they come with other lights. There's like a blue, a red, a yellow, green, and then you can also flash it to do Morse code with your buddies, for those that are super into awesome things. And then this is basically just a yard solar light. Now this way, no matter what, I'm always charging up a light that's on me. And other things I like about these guys, and again, everything, as you can see, everything comes off. So if I just want this, I can easily take that off. Now the solar light's great because I always have a light, but I also have the ability with the bottom guy to stake it and put it somewhere that I want to. And then a siphon's kind of important, if not just for novelty. And then I usually put an extra solar headlight in there. And then this is a waterproof grenade or magazine pouch, so that can fit a lot. And you're going to want something that's waterproof. You just never know, and it seals things a whole lot better. So that right there, I would probably put my goggles, face mask, maybe even a small flask of water or flask of whatever you want, and be pretty good to go. Bam, bam, bam. Now one of my other favorite belts And just like all the other stuff, it can be worn multiple and different ways. So for example, boom, we can put it on the shoulder, get a little bit like more Mad Maxy thing. And then for weaponry, I'm a fan of Nerf. It's hard to beat Nerf. You can do a lot of fun things with it. That's pretty cool. It just is. Bam! And then attached to this guy, glitter bombs. And then gifts to give out to special people. So these are some amazing acid etched bullets that have been replaced with beautiful stone by one of my friends. Got a little antler on that one. Boom, boom. Now, normally, I would have this guy. And we have more little gifts we can give out. So if you notice what I did there was just have to switch this from that side to this side. So it's a little better balanced. And all this is a Velcro belt. It's freaking amazing. It's become slowly one of my new favorite things. Because it's just so easy. And this guy has a key attachment or really whatever I want. And then of course that would wrap around my leg. Then we got a fun little dancy shiny crotch thing. Shiny and chrome. Ride to Valhalla. So that's why that guy's pretty great. Oh, and then here's another thing I love about it. You can take off that shoulder again. That's one of my favorite coats. This guy's amazing. Now we've attached an absinthe spoon because you never know. It's also just really classy if you have your own spoon. Oh, I probably should have put this on first. So I could wear the coat by itself, under stuff or over stuff. Or I could attach. Ooh. Oh, helps if I attach it correctly. You know, the right side to the right side. All right. That's looking good. Boom. All right, and that's pretty awesome. You can also attach lights. These pockets will always usually be full. And if you notice, I've attached multiple ways to attach all the other things that I've been pulling off and taking on so that I have everything on me quickly. Also, again, the pants. Pants are hard. It's really good to only have a couple pairs that you rock really well. For example, I love these guys because not only do they roll up, but they have a button that keeps them up. And then when they're down, they actually cinch pretty well. And then what happened here was my friend's mom, actually, bless her soul, she cut up a Jango Fett outfit for me and then attached the knee guards to this. And then the other pieces for my other favorite coats there. Thank you. So that's another just really good thing to know is you're going to want like one or two things. So we got that big coat. This by itself is just a good shirt. I could also wear this on top of that coat with that shoulder pad, which would make that coat look a little bit more post-apocalyptic, which is kind of my vibe, not 100%. Now, another really easy thing, if I wasn't wearing these guys, if it was just hot out, but I wanted to keep some kind of vibe going, I just took some nice little shin guards. These are those shirt sleeves. Of course, you got to get real blood, otherwise it's just not going to die right. And those could just be easily attached on top. Or you can attach these onto other things like some pauldrons. I didn't think I was going to catch that. Sometimes you just got to let it go. So, we're just going to keep this rocking because this is a lot of fun. This was one of my favorites. The wrist cannon or hand cannon. Basically what I did was take a shocker shin guard and then attach various layers of fabric and leather and a brass cannon. Now I can drill a hole in this and I could technically get this to fire, but to go to a lot of festivals, that's just a no-no, so there's no reason yet. And something like this is just easily slipped on and just gives you that super, a little bit, and not too much. That's also important. You don't want something that's super, super heavy or really clunky or really, really hot, because it's already going to get hot. Similar thing, so I took that soccer shin guard, and then I just used a Halloween costume hand, or skeleton hand, that you stick into the ground. And then we use those socks all around to kind of cover up those guys. And then now we have a little hand spike, or for safety. And something like that too can be worn on the shin. Can become a knee guard really, really easily. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. So, bam. Now I don't normally wear it on the shin, because what I've noticed is that I will end up breaking it. But you can get some devastating kicks in there. Now for some smaller stuff, we did a similar thing when we took those socks again. What I did with this one was I took concentric lines of old belts. These, if you have the belts that have little brass holes in them, they're just perfect for cosplay. You can make just about anything out of those. I've actually made a suit of armor just out of belts. So then with this guy, I used the cuff of a leather jacket to attach. And actually normally I wear this on the left hand because it says Winchester. And that was a vintage belt buckle I found in this awesome little small town in Northern California. Because you gotta have a little bit of art in everything. And then, one of my absolute faves, the hand cannon. Because sometimes you gotta be literal about things. And you just literally gotta have a hand cannon. Small, funny, not often seen. And again, all I did was attach it to those belts, and then just used a couple of studs. This was a boxing ties that wrap that around, and boom, solid. A finger blaster. No, that just didn't sound right. Sometimes it doesn't come out right. All right, now moving on to. Now this doesn't actually filter anything. Actually, I mean, it does. It keeps the dust out, that's for sure. And I could technically put in filters. But it's just a really nice mask. Attaches pretty easily. I don't like to attach these sides because I feel like it's a little bit claustrophobic. So I just let it hang. Or just let it hang around the neck. Or it's really funny if you can make almost like a bralette out of these, or a cod piece, really anything. That's these 3M gas masks. You can just do so much with. And all I did was use some Halloween decorations. That was a skeleton snake. That was one of those hands that comes out there, giving the old wasteland salute. And usually some cow teeth. Oh, hey now. Hey now, things are falling. And this guy. This is fun. He's just a fun shield. And like a lot of things, he lights up. Almost everything has lights in it. Because again, you don't want to be dark on the Playa Desert festivals, because you will get hit by something, probably an art car. And for a little extra spikage, what I've got on there. Oh, actually, I shouldn't pull that out right now. That's what someone said. All right, and then we have the gas blaster. Now this thing is just amazing. So, boom. I designed this guy a fair amount of different possibilities because it's amazing. So I could attach it directly. Oh, here, let's get that out there. So if I'm not wearing a belt or anything else, I can just slip this guy over. Boom, boom, boom. And what we did here is we took a little pouch, put a masquerade mask on it, just wrapped it up with some awesome thingies. And then again, in here we have that glowing wire. At night, clearly it looks a whole lot better. And then I use those skeleton snakes again, and then just some tubing. Attach another light on there so that I can see where I'm aiming. Slip the arm through. Those go onto the hand, and then we got my trigger. Of course, the idea being that this would be some kind of air pump, and then this would be some kind of spike that hopefully shoots or goes in and out. The spring, of course, doesn't really do anything. It's just attached. And this is a knitting needle, so it's not that dangerous, and allows me to be able to go in conventions. And then again, we use cow teeth for a little bit of decoration. You know, bullets that are etched, with some garnets in them. And then this guy, you know, the other thing too is I could dance. If I wanted to be careful, I have safety caps that I could put onto these guys. Okay? Because if I'm dancing or something, someone's not looking, that could take an eye really easily. And that's not fun. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. Oh, right. Oh, wrong thing. Boom, boom, moving on. Hope you're enjoying this, because I know I am. It's fun to go through all this stuff. All right. Now, one of my absolute favorite coats. The coat, the coat, the coat of wrath. The coat, the coat, the coat of wrath. I don't actually never called it that before. So because I did a lot of fire spinning, leather is really important. My favorite fire tool is a paddle that I spank people with. Boom! For hot spankings. You can actually just Google image the flaming paddle incident, and then you can see what I'm in. So this guy's just really fun. Again, we just took one of those lawn ornaments and made it into like a little baton thing or a rage stick or something that's set to let people know where I am. And again, everything should be able to attach easily. And then this guy, oh man, if you notice, it doesn't make a lot of noise. A lot of times these coats, they're so loud. But that's what happens when you put it through the washer and dryer a few times. I don't know why people say you shouldn't. I do it to all my leather stuff, and it always comes out great and supple. It's kind of a weird word. Now inside the coat, of course, we're going to have some leather gloves, or my Nomex ones if I'm doing fire safety. And then we got a bracelet that can pop off. Again, we got nice little patches that can come on and off any way that we want. And then we have another one of those lights. You can see I love these things because they're easy, they're rechargeable. Now this I could wrap around my hat, or usually if I'm wearing my face mask, let's take this sucker off. Just run one of these sides into it. Only a little bit, of course. And usually put the other guy. Oh. So that it gives you kind of like you're, breathing in toxic chemicals or cycling them out. I often pretend like I'm hitting nitrous with it. Or whatever you feel. Whatever you feel like. Boom. And then, of course, since you can't really bring a lot of like real weapons in a lot of places, that's why I use like the absinthe spoon and that kind of stuff. But you will get served food. And what better than some chopsticks? Or spiky spikes. But they're chopsticks. For real. Good ones, John. Quite nice. And of course, up on top, got a nice carabiner. This is going to have a knife, usually something to open up a fuel can, and then a small screwdriver. Man, those come in handy. Ooh, at festivals, when you have the little one, they're worth gold. And of course, that can be attached to anything. Now in the pocket, we're going to have a pair of my all-time favorite goggles. Now, the reason I love these is there's no logo, and they're yellow. And yellow is so good at night. Oh man, you can see everything. During the day, it's pretty good too. So if you had one pair of goggles to wear at a desert festival, I would go with the yellow tints. Because otherwise, I know for myself, at night when there's all the blinky lights at certain festivals, it's just too much. But these, they make it so good. And then, you gotta have some kind of whimsical face mask. Now normally this would just be because of all the dust, and there's a lot of that. So you want something that's comfortable. This is something, if they fog up a bunch, you just got to figure it out. That happens. Oh, anything else attached to that? Oh, there's also another face mask. You can see that those are important. I put those in the pockets of just about everything I have. That way I don't run out. Or, it's better to have one and not need it than need it and not have it. Oh, and let's grab, my favorite coat. Don't make me go walking on you. So this was the one that my friend's mom put the other pieces of Jango Fett on. Put the shoulder pads on. Put the arm blaster. And this is from my original group, the Blood Skull Burners. Now, somehow, I don't know, this pleather jacket has lasted over 20 years. Normally pleather disintegrates in a moment, but this thing has just held on strong. And then we got blinky red lights going up the back and along the firearm. And red was my signature light color because it's easy on the eyes. People could hang out next to you with red on and not get blinded. And, especially if I have like one design, so I come out, have like a 7 going around here, people remember that and they can pick it out of the crowd. So if you have a specific light pattern or design or one or two things that are unique, keep that. It helps a lot for your friends to find you. And it just, gives you like your signature look, basically. If you want that, everyone has theirs. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'd really like to see your looks and your fun cosplay and any advice that you have. Well, one thing I didn't mention was on the top left of this guy, we got the dangler lights. Now, that was the name given by Rod Dangler because they kind of dangle. They do. These are fantastic because you can point them in almost any direction. You can have them easily. They can just be pointed on you so that you don't blind somebody. And they're fun. You could decorate them like little snails if you want to. But yeah, that was one of the other things that I say definitely invest in. And let me know how it